Weapons are the idiomatic double-edged sword. They may want to kill or store lives, relying on how they're used. Over the years, creative minds have developed approaches of changing deadly weapons into peaceful items. It could be for art, style, or more practical reasons like preventing famines and producing electricity. The guns here variety from small knives to automatic assault rifles, rocket launchers, armor tanks, helicopters, and nuclear missiles. Escopeta, shotgun guitar in English, is coined from the Spanish escopeta, shotgun, and guitarra, guitar. As you have to have guessed, the time period refers to a gun that was converted into a guitar. The phrase is relatively of a misnomer since the guitars are created from attack rifles, mainly AK-47s, and not shotguns. Colombian musician, Cesar Lopez, invented and named the escopeta after looking at the aftermath of a deadly automobile bombing in the early 2000s. The explosion killed 36 humans and injured 170 others outside a nightclub in Bogotá, Colombia. Lopez discovered that a soldier on the scene held his rifle as if it had been a guitar. This motivated him to make a guitar out of an old AK-47 attack rifle. Lopez still makes escopetas today, all out of rifles surrendered by one of the many militias involved within the Colombian Civil War. The southeastern African kingdom of Mozambique fought a bitter civil battle between 1977 and 1992. By the time it changed into over 1 million people were useless and another 5 million have been homeless. At the give up of the struggle, the authorities recovered 7 million guns by permitting former opponents exchange their guns for farm tools beneath the Transforming Arms into Tools program. In 2001, Mozambique artist, Cristóvão Castor Carvalho welded some of these guns to create a sculpture he referred to as the Throne of Weapons. The sculpture includes guns from rival countries. There are rifles from the West, Russia, Portugal, and North Korea. All have been used in the Civil War. Another organization of Mozambican artists created a 2D sculpture from the recovered guns. This one changed into a 3-meter tall tree surrounded by using numerous animals. They known as it the Tree of Life. While many Americans do not recognize this, Russia used to be answerable for 1/10 of the energy generated in the US. The complete thing commenced at the stop of the Cold War when Russia and the USA agreed to decommission a large part of their nuclear stockpiles. In 1993, both countries signed the US-Russia Who Purchase Agreement. The deal required Russia to process the uranium from its decommissioned weapons into nuclear gasoline that will be sold to the United States. The US can convert this fuel into gas rods to energy US nuclear plants. The deal became a win for Russia. They were given pay to spoil their nuclear weapons. As Anton Klopkov of Center for Energy and Security Studies in Russia later said, this is the only time in records whilst disarmament changed into really profitable. The deal ended in 2013 whilst the final batch of nuclear gasoline became shipped to the United States. French farmers had been in a restoration at the stop of World War II. First, their farmlands had been crisscrossed with trenches and deep craters caused by exploding artillery shells. However, that became out to be the smaller problem. Their farm machineries, especially the tractors they required for any farm work, were both destroyed or shipped to Germany by means of the Nazis. The French military saved the day when it transformed its 3,000 surplus M17 FT Renault armored tank into makeshift tractors. The conversion became smooth and swift. The armor and weapons on the tanks were removed, and 1 or 2 things had been added, turning them into tractors. The method became a win-win for the French people, farmers and navy. It saved France from famine, provided farmers with tractors they could in any other case no longer come up with the money for, and allowed the military dispose its useless tanks for cheap. As the French Navy instructed the farmers, those little tractors that whip the Hun will undo a lot of what the Hun has done. Hun here referred to the Germans. The Knife Angel, officially known as the National Monument Against Violence and Aggression, is a 27 feet tall statue made by way of the ossuary, UK-based totally national ironworks centre. The statue become made from 100,000 knives and blades police officers seized from crime suspects across the UK. The National Ironworks Centre created the statue as a tribute to the victims of knife crimes. In fact, 30% of the knives contained blood at the time police transferred them to the centre. The centre obtained so many knives that they had sufficient to create a second statue of a police canine. Unlike the knife angel, the dog monument contained dog whistles, tags and gun parts. According to the centre, the statue changed into a tribute to every dedicated, brave and hard-working police canine out there. It turned into offered to the West Mercia Police Department, which installed it proper out of doors their headquarters in Hindlip, West Mercia, UK. Coral reefs are vital for the survival of underwater life. Unfortunately, they're getting destroyed through people and shifts inside the Earth's climate, prompting responsible governments to create synthetic reefs out of old subway cars and something else which can live to tell the tale underwater. Jordan did things a bit differently by way of making artificial reefs out of decommissioned military tanks, armored motors and helicopters. The guns had been sunk between 50 to 90 feet beneath the Red Sea, simply off the coast of the Jordanian town of Aqaba. Jordan already has 19 decommissioned weapons there as of July 2019, and hopes to develop this number as it gets extra guns. It hopes that the reefs will double as a museum and tourist attraction. Swords to Plowshares is a program with the aid of Earbuds, a Christian non-governmental company that wants to lessen gun violence. Under the program, people turn in their weapons and feature them transformed into farm implements. So far, Earbuds has converted AK-47 and AR-15 assault rifles into spades, plows, hoes, mattocks and trowels. Recovered weapons are reduced into portions before they are dispatched into the furnace. Thereafter, the red-hot steel is crushed into shape. Victims of gun violence and anti-gun violence advocates are allowed to take turns in beating the guns into farm tools. IM is a Swedish agency that works carefully with Latin American governments to get unlawful guns off the streets and repurpose their metals for different things. IM calls this metal humanium steel. In 2018, it partnered with UVA Labs to release the unique edition UVA 1 Wi-Fi earbuds. Parts of the earbuds and the charging case are made out of humanium metallic. To be clear, UVA Labs had earlier released the UVA 1 earbuds, which did not include any gun part. The one that contained gun parts was a unique version. The same year, IM partnered with watchmaker, Trewa, to make watches out of humanium steel. The guns used inside the watches had been seized by police officers in El Salvador. Chemical weapons had been broadly used at some point of World War I. In fact, the war is nicknamed the Chemists' War due to the fact chemists of the day were actively worried and growing chemical weapons for his or her sides. Chlorine, xylyl bromide and mustard gas all made their debut within the battlefields of World War I. While all three had been lethal, mustard gas hit a new degree of lethality. It changed into first deployed by Germany towards Allied troops in Ypres, Belgium, in July 1917. 10,000 Allied troops were killed in this unmerited attack and more had been injured. Unlike other chemical weapons, mustard fuel turned into immune to fuel masks since it is able to penetrate the frame via the skin. Protective garments did not assist because it went through garments too. Victims of the assault ended up with bloody coughs and itchy skins full of deadly blisters. A slow, painful death came 6 weeks later. 2 decades later, as the world organized for World War II, Allied scientists began discovering into stopping and curing mustard gas attacks. They genuinely did no longer need any surprises this time. 2 Yale University doctors, Louis Goodman and Alfred Gilman, observed that soldiers poisoned with the gas for the duration of World War I had lower white blood cells than other humans did. Gilman and Goodman quickly discovered that mustard fuel decreased the white blood cells inside the frame. The researchers deduced that mustard gas could assist extremity cancer. Here changed into the thing, white blood cells combat infections within the frame. However, they every so often end up mutated, inflicting leukemia cancer. To verify their theory, the researchers injected some subjects with nitrogen mustard and watched as their leukemia disappeared after several treatments. They have been right. Mustard fuel cured cancer. This changed into the first chemotherapy session and it formed the basis of cancer remedy today. Ships are made of steel, heaps of uncooked steel. This is recycled after they get old. 95% of the average deliver is completely recyclable. This figure includes warships. They are reduced and processed into new products, much like regular ships. These products can be something consisting of pots and pans. One decommissioned warship that made the information earlier than its scrapping changed into the HMS Invincible, a British naval deliver that noticed action within the Falklands, Balkan and Iraqi wars. The British Army bought the ship to Lale Ship Recycling of Turkey for £2 million, $3.2 million. The sale turned into considered ridiculous due to the fact it befell over the internet. But it appears that decommissioned warships regularly get bought over the internet. While it sounds properly to know that warships get recycled, the mission of reducing ships, warships inclusive, into pieces is truly difficult, complicated and dangerous. Many humans die while looking to cut ships into pieces every year.